Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we are going to be doing the stories behind my modeling photos part 4, I think? Maybe it's 3. I don't know. I make a lot of these on TikTok as well. So if you're not following me on TikTok, make sure to do that. My handle is just India Gants, like it is on every platform. So anyways, part 2, 3, 4, whatever it may be. If you haven't seen the other ones, I'll link one here, but there are several others on my channel. So in this video, I'm gonna be going through some of my modeling photos and telling you what happened behind the scenes to get to that final photo. It is so funny when I think about the behind the scenes of photo shoots and commercials and things like that, and just like how crazy and hectic and weird it can be behind the scenes to get that final gorgeous image. So I literally thought to do this video because the other day I was at the nail salon and I was walking around the salon with those foamy things in between my toes and the like paper flip-flops, and I had tin foil wrapped around all my fingers to melt off the old polish, and I was just like, oh my gosh, I look like a crazy person, but you're gonna come out looking amazing afterwards. So anyways, I was just thinking about the process to getting a beautiful image at the end of a shoot that might have been crazy during the behind the scenes. So with that said, let's get right into the video. Whoopsh. Alright, so this first image is from my first editorial ever. I had been signed with SMG, Seattle Models Guild, for maybe 2 weeks or something, and then I booked this editorial. It was for D-List magazine, if I'm not mistaken, and it was like a rocker, edgy bridal shoot. So all the dresses I wore were actually bridal gowns, as you can see. So I was 16 in this photo shoot, and this is the job where I learned that models typically do not get a lot of privacy, and that was just something I was gonna have to get comfortable with. So a lot of times models are changing in the car or having people hold up fabric so that you can change in the corner of this park or whatever. Like, we very rarely have good places to change when we are on set at shoots, especially if it's like outdoors or something like that. This one was in a giant like ballroom, and there definitely were bathrooms, but on an editorial shoot you're doing like 9 looks and you have to go very, very fast. And so eventually we kind of just said, frick the bathrooms, and they had me changing just like literally in front of everybody. And I remember I was 16 years old, standing in front of about 25 people in just my little tiny nude G-string and no top. And I was just standing there like this, covering my top half. And I was even on a little pedestal where they were gonna put the dress over. There was no screen, there was no door, there was no sheet. It was just wide open right in the middle of this ballroom, and I was standing there in barely any underwear, my whole bum out, and no top, just like this. And I was like, is this normal? And I will say, now I wouldn't stand for that. I would be like, no, I'm changing in the bathroom, or you're putting up a sheet or something, like, to give me some privacy. I wouldn't stand for that now. But FYI, that's not a normal thing, and you don't need to deal with that on set. Of course, it was like my 3rd photo shoot ever, and I was very shy, and so I let it slide, but now I wouldn't. You are able to have whatever amount of privacy you need, even if it's a little bit more of a hassle for everybody else. You should never have to stand topless in front of 25 people, including men and everybody. I mean, no. You just don't have to deal with that. But I did, and back then, yeah, I just learned, okay, this is what models have to go through, I guess. And yeah, as models we do have very little privacy a lot of times, but I always do the best I can to get as much privacy as I can on set. So anyways, in a more positive light, this photo shoot was one of my favorites ever, and it actually got, you know, printed in a magazine, and my mom bought like 10 copies, and it was really cool to have that be like my first editorial ever. And that's where I ended up meeting one of my favorite makeup artists now in Seattle, and just, it was an awesome shoot other than the lack of privacy. I still have that magazine today, and it's so funny, we have a stack of like this big of just magazines that I've been in here at my parents' house, so kind of cool to look through those sometimes. Alright, next one is this, and this was another photo shoot that was really early on in my career in the modeling industry in Seattle. This shoot I struggled with because they were going for light, airy, breezy, and that was just a skill in modeling that I had not learned yet. I think because I watched so much America's Next Top Model, I just was so adamant about the smize and the intense face and flexing your muscles and things like that, and I just did not know how to be light and airy at all. I feel like with a lot of shoots in my early days, I look back at them and I'm like, why was I so scary? Like, relax. And I, anyways, didn't know how to be soft and pretty and just not so intense. Now, I would say that's a skill that I've mastered, and it comes in so handy because a lot of clients are always asking for that just breezy, half smile, pleasant looking expression. So anyways, this shoot was intense, and this is probably the softest image we got all day. But anyways, the funny story behind this photo shoot was when I was getting my makeup put on, there was something about the eyeliner or whatever that touched me in the wrong way, and my contact fell out. And if you didn't know, I have very bad vision. I have -4.5 and -4, and this one has an astigmatism. So anyways, it's not horrible. I'm not like legally blind, but I'm not allowed to drive without my contacts, and it's very hard to see. I wouldn't be able to function without them. So that day, the contact fell out when she was doing my eyeliner, and I was like, oh crap. Luckily, my vision wasn't as bad back then. It's gotten worse and worse and worse over the years. But I was like, what do I do? Like, I cannot see without my contact. I don't know what I'm gonna do. And also, if you have contacts, you know that if you have one in and one out, you can get so dizzy and your like depth perception is off. And so I was like, well, I'm not gonna do one in and one out. So I decided to take the other one out. And before you ask, yes, I checked all over. We were shooting on a beach and I was looking for that contact to like wash it off or lick it or whatever to get it back in my eyeball, but I could not find the contact. And even if I did, I probably wouldn't want to put it in after it's been in the sand. Ouch, am I right? So basically, I didn't want to be dizzy and have no depth perception, so I took out the other one, and then I was just completely blind. I didn't bring glasses with me. Now, I do bring glasses on set to shoots, just in case. I learned my lesson from this one particular photo shoot. But anyway, so I took both of the contacts out, and now I'm shooting blind. And that was really weird and not a good thing at all. I felt really embarrassed. Again, this is just a thing about being young and stupid. I just like pretended that I was fine and like, oh yeah, I'm good. I could shoot without them. It's no biggie. Like, can you imagine doing a photo shoot where you can't even see the photographer or like anything? I mean, it was really difficult to shoot that way. Okay, that was a very long story. Let's move on to the next photo. All right, next photo is this one here, and this was shot in the woods in Greece, somewhere near Athens. It was like an hour away from Athens, I think. And it was for this kind of big Greek department store, which I can't remember the name of it now. But anyways, those shoots that I did in other countries were always so interesting because I didn't speak any of the language, and you know, it's quite hard to communicate what they need on set to me who doesn't speak their language. So those shoots were always very funny, and this one was one where nobody spoke any English, which I came across several times, but it's always funny when there's that like major communication barrier. This was one of my better paying jobs that I did while I was living in Greece for 5 months, and it ended up being on like the store, everywhere in the store. It was on the kind of poster board outside, and it was on the racks inside, and I'll put that picture here. I found it at one of the stores, and that was my first time ever being like actually printed in the stores. Now it happens quite often, and I just found one the other day for another campaign. Maybe I'll put that here if I find it. Anyways, that was really cool because it was my first like actual printed thing in store that I could go see in person, and I thought that was so awesome. So that was that shoot. Okay, this shoot I know that I've talked about on my TikTok. I'm not sure if I've talked about it on YouTube, but there were several different photos for this photo shoot. But this one was so funny because I swear, sometimes when I would do those international trips, I lived in Italy for like 5 months, Greece for 5 months, Singapore for 2 months, Istanbul for a while. Anyways, lived all over, and sometimes my agency would send me jobs that sound so cool. Like Versace and Gucci and big skincare brands and whatever else, and I was like, oh my gosh, so cool. Well, it turns out a lot of times they aren't photo shoots for the actual brands. They're like these weird slight knockoffs of the major brands, and so it always seems like a really cool job, and then you realize like, oh, this is like the Greek version of Versace. Yeah, so I think they told me that this was Versace eyewear, and I got really excited. I actually found this photo of Kate Moss doing Versace eyewear, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna be the next Kate Moss. Like, this is my breakthrough moment, and I was so excited. And it was just like a random Greek knockoff of Versace eyewear. Actually, I may have shot that in Italy. I think I shot that in Milan, which is why I even more so thought it was legit. But wherever I shot this, it was not legit, and it was just the frickin' fake Versace, but it's still a cool image to have. If it was the real Versace campaign, I'm sure I would have got paid a little more than I frickin' did. So that should have been a telltale sign, but whatever. There's the picture. All right, so next one, I'm gonna show you a few pictures from this photo shoot, but this was my coldest shoot I have ever done. So this was shot in the mountains in Washington State in the coldest month. Actually, oh my gosh, I totally forgot about this. It was actually on Super Bowl Sunday, so probably early February, several years ago now. It was the year that the Seahawks won. Oh my gosh. I have a whole other story that goes with this, but I'll start with the temperature first. So it was so cold, and between shots we would run to the car and turn on the heat and just like get our hands warmed up because we were so cold. And some of the outfits I wore were very thin or freaking sleeveless, and when I say cold, I mean like, you know, 20 degrees. It was icy. And we found a bathroom, which was where I was able to change because we were like in the woods, but this park had a bathroom. And in the bathroom there was a hand dryer, and literally when I got changed I would just be under the hand dryer trying to warm up my body, and it was just so funny, like the things we were doing to try to stay warm. But you gotta get the shot, so I just struggled through the cold and we got some pretty cool images out of it. I must say it was very hard to stand in high heels in the snow. That was something I really had to learn. Now, when I teach people how to runway walk, or I give advice on how to walk in heels, I always say it's heel toe, just like you're walking in your tennis shoes or something. But a lot of times in modeling, when you're on like a boardwalk or something that has cracks in it, or you're in dirt, or you're in snow or something where the heel would just pierce right through the ground or the hole or whatever, you have to like learn how to walk in heels on your toes. And that was a skill I think I probably learned at this photo shoot. So the story I was going to tell you, this was Super Bowl Sunday, the year that the Seahawks won. And the reason I remember is because I'm not really into football, NFL. Like, now I watch it a little bit more, but I still hardly know what's going on, for God's sake. But back then I really didn't care. So we did this shoot on Super Bowl Sunday. I guess the fashion community doesn't care all that much. So I got a ride home with one of them because it was very far away. So we all kind of caravanned and drove home together. And we drove through downtown Seattle, where there were couches on fire being thrown out of windows. People came and jumped on top of the hood of our car and rolled across. They were banging on the windows. It was a madhouse. Fireworks, this and that, people yelling. I have never seen anything like it. And we were like, what is going on? And we turned on the radio and, you know, obviously found out that our home team, the Seahawks, had won the Super Bowl. Kind of an embarrassing way to find that out, but it was insane. Like, so crazy cool to be in downtown and seeing all the craziness firsthand. Also quite dangerous, and I wouldn't do it again, but that was like so nuts. Okay, so the next one is this image, and this I don't even have like that crazy of a story, but this was just one of the weirdest photo shoots I've ever done. It was an editorial that I shot in Milan, or like the outskirts of Milan, I guess. And they had this gorgeous house for us, and this bird man who had a raptor and an eagle and an owl, and it was really cool. I got to like hold all these different birds on my arm, and it was such a weird photo shoot, but I was like, cool, you know, bucket list. I literally got to hold an eagle It was so heavy. I've never felt anything that heavy on my arm in my life. But anyway, it was such a crazy cool shoot, and this redheaded girl actually became one of my close friends there, so it was fun to shoot with her. And I randomly shot with this other male model guy like twice while I was in Milan, so small world. But anyways, weirdest editorial. The outfits were insane, like so out there and crazy, and I didn't really like any of the shots, which is probably why I can't find any other ones other than this one. But it was a whole magazine spread and lots of different birds and lots of different outfits. But anyways, not a huge crazy story on this one, just how bizarre. Okay, so the last one I'm gonna do for this video is this one, and this was literally shot with one of my favorite photographers here in Seattle, and we just shot it at his house, like on the deck. It was like pretty much no makeup or hair, just very simple, and he's a great photographer, and we ended up just submitting it around to different magazines, and it got in UK Glamour. So pretty cool. I've been in Glamour magazine, but it's so funny because obviously if you see an ad like this in a magazine, you would assume like all those products were used and this was like a big photo shoot with a big team and all that stuff. Like, no, we didn't use any of the products featured in this article. We didn't have a big team. It was just like the two of us and his assistant, who's his wife, and we shot this together and submitted it to the magazine, and yeah, didn't use any of the products listed here, which I think is kind of funny. It makes you wonder like what is real and what is fake in this world. Even on America's Next Top Model, when we shot the Rimmel stuff, they would do like the least amount of things as possible with Rimmel products, if that makes sense. Like they would use other skin products and things like that, even though they were supposed to use Rimmel because it's a Rimmel ad. But a lot of times in the, you know, fashion and makeup, whatever, photo shoot world, you don't actually use the products that you're advertising all the time. So this is an example of that, and again, very cool to be in Glamour, but this was not a shoot for Glamour. It was not a shoot for any of the products that they're talking about, and they just so happened to use a photo that we took on this photographer's back porch. So kind of funny. But anyways, I've got lots more photos, but I think I need to draw this video to a close. Don't want to be going on and on and on for hours and hours. So with that said, thank you for watching, and I hope you liked this video. Please do leave a like, and if you're not subscribed, I'd love if you did. Join this family on YouTube. So thanks again for watching, and see you next time. Mwah!